Listening to parental advice, I do not know. I mean, many people look at me as a parent, a financial parent, right? Like rich dad, poor dad kind of a thing. So, yesterday I was in a group where a person earning about, okay, it doesn't matter how much he or she was earning. What matters is about 1 year's income of the husband and wife was going into a big SUV. Big SUV, whatever. I mean, the SUV costs about 20 lakhs. So you can now know that they were earning about 20 lakhs, right? So actually, it's about 15 months' income that was going into buying a car. So that reminds me of the kind of advice that we used to get, saying never borrow, right? You must have all heard this. If you're typical Indian middle class, you must have heard this: never borrow. I never borrowed, my father never borrowed, kind of thing. However, the younger generation today is hearing at least about car and house borrowing. May not be something else, may not be honeymoon loan, may not be there, a travel loan may not be there, but a car loan and a housing loan is quite common. So should you buy a car? I don't know, I'm not getting into that debate. So, but another advice that you would have definitely heard is, don't buy second-hand cars. Cars deteriorate, so don't buy second-hand cars. To me, I've seen kids buying second-hand cars which are 2-3 years old and use it for very long periods of time, right? So parental advice, especially in areas which they don't really know. So first is this: don't buy used cars. I'm sure you must have heard this. Second is do not borrow. Now very unlikely that you will be able to buy a house without borrowing. And I made a video saying 3, 10, 20, 30, 20, 40 rules on investing for buying a house. So to stick to those norms, you can stick to those norms only if somebody subsidizes you. If your parents are subsidizing you, then yes, otherwise it's very difficult to do that. So what should you do? You'll have to wait, you'll have to go further away, or you'll have to buy a smaller house, right? So those are the rules to be done, to be followed if you want to borrow to buy a house, or you want to borrow to buy a car. So how many people are willing to buy a used car? Not too many. Sheer ego, I guess. So people don't listen to the advice of buying a used car or waiting to buy a house, right? Renting is better. Yes, they talk about renting being better, but then after some time they are into some kind of a pressure saying we can afford it, so we are buying. Largely it means they are able to afford it for a particular reason, right? So what other advice? I mean, I'd be very happy if you subscribe to my channel, like my videos, press the bell icon, right? And also comment saying what are the other advice that you have got from your parents which you don't like or you don't follow. So buying second-hand cars is something not very many 50-year-olds do, not very many youngsters also do, because they think it's an ego thing. But I think showing how well you're doing because of your car is very old fashioned, right? My generation did it. This generation should not be doing that. That does not make sense. Also, rent, don't buy. Yeah, many children today don't rent, don't buy. They rent a house. They don't buy a house. So that also one sees. Other piece of advice is don't invest in equities and invest all your money in equities. Both kind of advice I've got, but both are wrong. You can't put all your money in equities, especially when you have immediate short-term goals to be paid off. You want to pay off your car loan, you want to pay off your motorbike loan, you want to admit your child in school, college, whatever. So when you have those short-term requirements, you obviously have to have that much money at least in some kind of a debt form. Similarly, other parents who say don't invest in equity at all, your grandfather lost money, your father lost money, or some shit like that, that's also wrong. So you have to have a sensible asset allocation which may not be all debt or all equity. Another piece of advice which I partially agree and partially don't agree is whenever you take a housing loan, take the maximum housing loan, buy as big a house as you can, because it's the only house that you will buy. I don't believe that a young kid who is just starting out in life needs to buy a 3 BHK. Now that's the argument that they use, saying no, you need at least one guest room and here and there, etc. That is just committing you to a very big housing loan, which does not make any sense. So buy as small a house as you need, and then as and when you have more money and there is some equity built into this house, you can give this off and buy a new house. So yeah, buy as big a house as you can. To me it doesn't make sense, but that's an advice when you hear. And then another advice is repay as much of your loan as fast as possible. This is not a bad thing to say, but if interest rates are going up, it makes no sense to repay the loan, because your equity returns will also go up. Let's say you are paying an EMI of 50,000 and you actually find you would pay an EMI of 70,000, right? Every month you have 20,000 excess to pay. One, you committed yourself to a smaller EMI, saying what happens if something goes wrong, which is fair enough. So now every month you can go and put 20,000 into the same account and say, okay, I will repay the loan faster. Or you can put that 20,000 into an investment account and see if the investment account is giving you 13% and the home loan is at 7%, it makes sense more to be investing. But if you are an insecure person, or if you feel no, I hate this loan on my head and I need to repay, then do a sensible analysis, but then don't get carried away by what your parents said. No, you should always repay a little bit. That's fine if it suits you. It does not suit everybody. So see what suits you. You're comfortable investing in equity, maybe an index fund, and you think index fund will give at least 2-3% more than your home loan, then go ahead, do investments, right? So can you go on to the comment column and write what kind of advice that you received from your parents or anybody older, or even my own videos, and how you used it, or how you think that is wrong and you did not use it. Both ways feedback is useful, because I don't think older people will stop giving advice. People like me will keep giving advice and making such videos. It's just for you to decide whether to see it, whether to forward it, what to do. But if you like it, please subscribe. Please hit the bell icon. I say this once in a while, guys, so if you don't watch my video every day, you will miss this. So let me say this more often. Thank you.